Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Nkenna. I am responsible for everything that goes on here. Today, as you guys can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about some of my pre-med advice that I wish I had been told, or things that I just wish I knew going into the process and when I was a pre-med. The first thing, and I think probably the most important thing, would be to find a mentor. It's always helpful to find somebody who's doing what you want to do, or somebody who is where you want to be in life, and just kind of ask them about their process and how they got to where they were. Not everybody has older brothers and sisters, and then also not everybody has a parent that is in the profession that they want to go into. So that does make things kind of difficult. I would definitely try and find a mentor, whether it's at your university or just finding a physician to shadow, whoever it is, whether it's a nurse practitioner or PA, whatever field that you want to go into, then I would definitely recommend find a mentor, ask them about their process, and eventually that can lead to a great letter of recommendation and then networking and connections and just all types of things. So definitely find a mentor. Tip number 2 would be to join a pre-professional club. Again, this is not just for pre-meds, but pre-PA, pre-NP, pre-dent, whatever pre-professional school that you're thinking about going into. I would definitely say join your school's pre-professional program, because they often have admissions counselors from various schools come and talk to the group. They have different volunteer opportunities. It looks really good on your resume. It's an easy way to try and get some volunteer hours, and then even maybe get a leadership position. It's always good to just network with those people because they do have alumni connections, and it just opens up this door to where you need to go. I know when I was at UGA and I was considering going pre-PA, in that club, they had all sorts of things. They had this just immaculate like Google spreadsheet or Excel spreadsheet, and it literally had all these schools and all their prerequisite requirements, their GPA requirements, like when the application opens, when are interviews, like what is their minimum test score. So it just opens this, it just unlocks all these possibilities. So I would say try and get in touch with those people. And then of course, these people all have a common goal, so you can form a study group, you can meet friends with common interests. It's great. So try and join a club that is directed towards the pre-professional outlet you want to go into. Tip number 3 would be to look at school requirements early. This is something that I did. I had a notebook for this, but I should have checked it more often. But not everybody has that. And I would just recommend start getting an idea of, okay, these are the schools that I want to go to, so that you can plan out your coursework accordingly. Because some schools, like let's say for instance, some schools require biochemistry, but then others don't. So me personally, I was in the mindset, I hate chemistry so much, but I like OChem. But I was at the point where I was like, I really don't want to take biochem, so if I can avoid it, then I will. And then some schools require calculus and some schools require statistics. So that's very, you know, I got a B in calculus, but I got an A in statistics. I took both just to save myself the headache. But if you're somebody who absolutely dreads calculus and maybe doesn't have, like, you know, somebody to help them with calculus or whatever it is, then you probably want to look and see, okay, I'm gonna avoid these schools because I don't want to take calculus. And that also applies to some schools take online courses, some schools take community college credit, and then other schools absolutely do not. So you don't want to have your hopes set high on this one school and then they don't take any community college coursework, and maybe you took bio, physics, and Gen Chem at community college and then transfer to a university and they don't accept any credit. Tip number 4 would be to get to know your professors. Eventually you're gonna need letters of recommendation, and I'll tell you straightforward, a lot of these schools want your letters of recommendation to be from science professors because you are going into a science related pre-professional program. So they're gonna request that they be from your basic science of physics, basic science of physics, biology, and chemistry. So you want to get to know those professors early on very well. I know it can be hard in a 300-person lecture hall. However, it sets yourself apart, and then you can set yourself up for potential TA positions, research positions, things like that outside of a letter of recommendation, and you step away from getting that generic letter to a more detailed letter. And of course, schools like the detailed, more personal letter rather than this person took my class, they got an A, I recommend them. Tip number 5 would be to be well-rounded. Try and be a diverse student. I know everybody's different and some people are interested in a lot of things and some people kind of like have their little niche and they like to stick to that. And they just, you know, creatures are habit. But I would definitely encourage you, if you can and you do have multiple interests, just step outside of your comfort zone and show that you're a well-rounded applicant and a well-rounded person. Just like a little bit background so you guys can kind of get an idea about me. I was a Division I athlete at an SEC school. I was on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I was also part of the Human Development and Family Science Association on campus. I did Shop with a Bulldog. I was a counselor for a camp called Camp Kisem. What else did I do? I did some modeling while I was at school. Oh goodness, I worked a lot of different jobs, like sometimes 2 jobs. I was the public relations chair for the African Student Union. That's just to name a few things. I did other volunteer mentoring type things, but you can see that I was involved in a lot of different societies, and I wasn't just in like the pre-med society at UGA. Tip number 6 would be to try and get as many shadowing and hands-on experience hours as you can. I know that there are some people who maybe they were career changers, or if you're going to nursing school. I believe when I was considering nursing school and NP, then a lot of schools require that you maybe had like a CNA license. So, you know, you're able to get your hands-on experience hours there. And then I do know some people who are like EMTs that are applying to PA school, or they're applying to med school. And that's a really good way to get some hands-on patient interaction hours. And depending on what school it is, they consider scribing as hands-on experience. So as I've mentioned on this channel before, I do work as an emergency department scribe, one at just a regular ER and then another at a pediatric emergency department. So at the pediatric emergency department, I do work with APPs or mid-levels or NPs and PAs, and then I also work with MDs and DOs. So I just really work with everybody. And then at the other emergency department that's not a specializing emergency department, I just work with MDs and DOs. Tip number 7 would be to not overload yourself in terms of your coursework. This is something that I learned the hard way. Straight out of undergrad, I just wanted to be done. I wanted to get my prerequisites over, and I wanted to get into school as soon as possible. So I would find myself taking like 5, 6, 7 classes at a time because I just want to get everything over with. And ultimately, the takeaway from this is it is better to take 3, 4, even 2, or maybe even 1 class at a time and get an A in all of those classes than to take a bunch of classes and get C's, B's, have to withdraw, have to repeat a class. You just want to make sure that you do it once and do it well. And the last tip that I have for you guys in terms of pre-med advice that I wish that I had, it would be tip number 8, would be to write down your goals. This is something that was really good about my junior and even my senior year of undergrad, and then I kind of like fell off with it, but I still do it every now and again, is to write down your goals and then go back and reread those goals and see what you've achieved and then update those goals. It's always good to set goals for yourself, even if it's just like this semester I'm going to keep a 3.7 or a 3.6, whatever it is. Like I'm going to maintain my GPA, or this semester I'm going to get one leadership. I'm going to run for a leadership position in a club, or I'm going to join a club, or this semester I'm going to volunteer for 30 hours. Set goals for yourself and just keep yourself accountable. And it's always good to set goals. Always be striving to grow and always be striving to grow and just make bigger goals for yourself and set higher standards and set the bar higher. I know it's always a really good feeling for me to go back and see what I've achieved and just see how far I've come, because I oftentimes fall into like just the problematic mindset of like, oh my goodness, I don't feel like I'm doing anything, or like I always joke like I have to get my life together. I have to get my life together. But like looking back, like I've done so much just even since like my junior year of undergrad. Like I've come so far, and maybe it's not at the pace that I wanted it to happen, but I have done a lot of things in that time, and I'm still doing things. So it's always good to just be able to look back and see how far you've grown and how far you've come, and it's very humbling. So you guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you guys found this helpful, definitely don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Share this with somebody who you think would find this to be a valuable resource. If you guys do have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. I also have an email address in the description box, and you guys can contact me that way. If you have any other questions that you do want addressed in a future video, or if you want me to respond personally, I can definitely do that. But that is all that I have for you guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
So blurry, trying to slow it down, stay close to the ground, but we're always in a hurry now. And if I could make this world spin a little slower.